Hello, this is a message for someone that's very gifted. If this message is for you, you may be clairvoyant, you may be intuitive, you may have the gift of dreams, you're a very witchy person, you're a magical person, you like that stuff, it intrigues you, you're very interested, but you don't know a whole ton about it. Like, your knowledge of this subject is pretty superficial, circumstantial, for entertainment mostly. You have never dedicated yourself to studying it, but yeah, you're very interested because you're also very naturally witchy yourself, and you do have gifts that what I'm getting is they're untapped. Okay, so you're aware you have these gifts and you probably do use them to an extent. Say you have the gift of dreams and you dream of things that come true. You're aware of this. You're aware of this most of your life. You do utilize it to a level, but you haven't tried to develop it further. You haven't studied it. You haven't tried and figure out if there's levels to it. None of that. Say you have the gift of premonition. Yeah, you'll take it into account when you get a premonition. Your circle may know you get premonitions, but you are as startled by them as anyone else, and you haven't taken it any further. Again, you don't know if that develops into something else. You don't know if there's a way to control it. You have no idea. You probably also don't know a lot of people like that, and in your circle is probably taboo to a level. So to you, your interest in this is a little French, and it's a little edgy, and people around you might be a little spooked about your gifts, and they might not be acknowledged as such, and you might not even look at them as such, but you are aware that you have these abilities to an extent, and people around you pick up on that too. It can be something that either fascinates people or freaks people out, so you've learned to sort of hide it at times or not call attention to it at times, but other times you feel like it's something that will bond you to a person when you first meet them, if they're like witchy too or something like that. So if this all resonates, what's happening here is that you have huge gifts, you are natural, but you haven't tapped into it. You haven't crossed the door. You haven't crossed the threshold is what I keep getting. And you keep getting invitations. What I'm getting is you keep getting into situations where God sort of springs up situations on for you to use your gift, to acknowledge your gift, to embrace your gift, to go deeper into your gift, to investigate your gift, to study, and you just don't take it. Why? Because you haven't prioritized it. Again, you see it as something sort of like entertainment or interesting, something you're also a little bit embarrassed about is what I'm getting. It's not, again, it's fringe in your mind or more so in your surroundings. Not really in your mind. It's just that you're just dealing with the environment you're dealing with, and in your environment it's kind of a fringe interest, and you have to be very careful how you bring it up, the context and the way, so it doesn't get misconstructed into something that is not, something darker or something wrong, something like that. So there's a stigma around it in your surroundings that has kept you from even dipping your toes into this thing that's so interesting and comes so natural to you. Because I was going to say it has kept you from going beyond dipping your toes, but what I'm getting is that you've never even gotten to truly dip your toes. It's more so like you are taking little walks around the lake and you're not going in. You like it, you find it interesting, you won't let yourself get too close. And so God keeps pushing you closer. So circumstances keep arising that are sort of calling you towards this, and you feel like just even going towards it is possibly controversial and possibly something you would want to keep under wraps, so you don't even know what it looks like to actually pursue this fully and openly. Like to you it's just sort of not realistic, you feel at the time right now. So yeah, you're just sort of skirting around it. But here's the deal. The calling is real. God is calling you, and you have probably felt it recently, like your gifts are acting up. Okay, So what's happening is they're sort of activating on their own since you won't activate them. And that means, you know, God probably has a purpose for those gifts, and that's why you were born with them. So God wants you to use them. So you're going to keep feeling this calling more and more intensely, and you should follow it, okay? So this is going to be a matter of you discovering yourself and then learning to embrace yourself to the point that others are able to embrace you. Maybe you'll be the person in your family and surroundings that changes the perception of these kinds of things. Maybe that's part of your role, is what I'm getting. But regardless, there's a calling happening here, is what I'm getting. And I guess this message is to confirm to you that this calling is real and that it will be good for you and that it is connected to your life's purpose and it will bring you great happiness. And it is basically what you and God intended for you to do on this incarnation. So it's kind of important that you step up to it and understand that if you don't, God will keep escalating situations to push you to do it. So I always say it's better to go than get dragged. Get dragged to do it. So that's just my advice. I hope that helps.